So Mario Kart 8 just got brand new DLC for the first time in 7 years. Considering this is my favorite Mario Kart game, I am over the moon. And these 8 new courses from Wave 1 of the Booster Course Pass DLC are hiding a fair amount of shortcuts and secrets that you guys might want to know if you want to step up your Mario Kart game. Personally, I think the most interesting secrets actually come in the later courses, so we're going to be starting in the back with Ninja Hideaway and working our way all the way to the front with Paris Promenade. I don't want to waste any more of your time, let's get right into it. Alright, so this first shortcut is the coolest one, and it's also the one that I've seen literally no one talk about. That's because it's not really like a shortcut intended by Nintendo, or at least I don't think it is. But basically, as you're rounding this final corner on Ninja Hideaway, on 200cc, if you zoom off the ledge at this angle, you'll go through the cherry blossom tree and land on this final platform, skipping the entire final turn basically. Now you can see, obviously I did that there with a mushroom, and the mushroom definitely makes this a lot easier because it is pretty precise and you have to be going pretty fast. However, I was able to get it pretty consistently without a mushroom as well. It's just a bit harder, so this is definitely something you're going to want to practice in time trials before you end up taking it, online. The fact that you can do it without a mushroom too is super nice because you can use the mushroom earlier in this shortcut, which I'm sure most of you already know. There are these wooden piranha plant stand-ups covering this shortcut, which is actually a lot faster, like it saves multiple seconds. So anytime you can go for this, you should. However, you do need a mushroom to get its full effect, or alternatively, any other item like a super horn, star, or even a shell, as you can see here, would work just fine. Last thing I want to talk about in Ninja Hideaway is this pond right here. It looks innocent enough, but apparently you can trick off this. It's pretty hard because it leads right into a couple of intense 90-degree turns, so you want to hug the wall as tight as possible. That'll just help you not fall off, and if you're trying this one on 200cc, be pretty careful because it is kind of tough. It's a very sharp turn. Next, let's take a look at GBA Sky Garden, and the main cut here is one also I'm sure you all have kind of already known. I'll touch on it anyway though, just in case. It's right here at the end of the course. You use a mushroom, cut through this beanstalk, and you skip this entire final turn. In that case, it actually reminds me a lot of the same shortcut on Sweet Sweet Canyon. It's right at the end of the lap, so you know it's going to be super useful with passing people last second. It skips the final turn, but you do need a mushroom to do it. Speaking of Sweet Sweet Canyon's gotten me pretty hungry, and that leads us right into today's sponsor, HelloFresh. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit and makes cooking at home simple and affordable. HelloFresh takes the shopping and meal planning out of cooking and sends you delicious meals with perfectly measured ingredients straight to your doorstep. The perfectly measured ingredients is a huge part for me because when I cook for myself, I generally end up wasting a lot of food, which is obviously just not a good thing. On top of that, the packaging HelloFresh uses is already recycled content, so HelloFresh is just absurdly sustainable. On top of that, HelloFresh has more 5-star reviews from any other meal kit, so you know you're gonna get something delicious. And whether you're a picky eater or just hate eating the same thing twice, HelloFresh's 50 weekly menu and market items gives you a plethora of options to choose from. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, use my link or go to HelloFresh.com and use code POGSwitchstop16 for up to 16 free meals plus 3 surprise gifts across 6 HelloFresh boxes, plus free shipping. It doesn't get better than that, so click the link in the description, and thank you HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Alright, so we're not done on Sky Garden just yet. There is one more shortcut, being these leaves. But as I was doing this on 200cc, I couldn't help but think, this doesn't feel fast at all. Bouncing on the leaves just felt slower, so I timed it, and yeah, if you're on 200cc and probably even 150, I would avoid these leaves at all costs. Cause if you're drifting right and pulling up with hard lines, the boosts you get from drifting should more than make up for the bouncing off the leaves. For Shroom Ridge, there are 2 main shortcuts here, both of which requiring a mushroom. The first one is this giant glider ramp. It's pretty hard to miss. I would definitely try and hug the left side so you can cut off as much of the grass as possible, and make sure to use your mushroom super late in this one. As you can see here, I used it just a fraction too early, and I actually ran out of mushroom on the grass, which obviously slows you down a ton and kills your momentum. The second skip involves this air draft. However, you do need to mushroom into it because if you don't, you lose too much speed and you won't end up making it back up to the course. Now there is this one purple pickup truck that has a surfboard behind it. It's the same one that appears gears in Toad's Turnpike, you can get a quick aerial boost by going off that surfboard. However, since the cars are obviously moving, you can never really predict exactly where it's going to be. If there's a setup to consistently get it appearing right before this giant clip, I guess you could potentially drive off the surfboard and onto the air draft, but that's not consistent enough to really focus on. Heading into Tokyo Blur, these Mario Kart Tour courses are actually really interesting because the laps change each time. There are multiple different variations of Tokyo Blur within the Mario Kart Tour game, and I guess to honor that, the Mario Kart team in charge of porting this course over actually made it change each time. So you do Tokyo Blur 1 for the first course, then 2, then 3, and it's actually pretty cool. Just so you're never surprised with a turn, I'll run through the basic course layout right now. So on lap 1, you're gonna take the left path, as signified by this red arrow thingy. And if you try and disobey it, Lakitu just puts you right back on the course, so definitely don't try and do that. From there on, the rest of lap 1 is super straightforward, and you'll want to use a mushroom to bounce off this ramp. In lap 2, instead of taking a left at that first intersection, you take a right and you're greeted by these thwomps. At the next intersection, you take a left, and then again, the rest of lap 2 is pretty straightforward. Again, you want to use the mushroom on this ramp. Lap 3 is a right and then another right, which takes you on this highway as signified by the toll booth. Because of that, you skip over that ramp part, but you do get a cool glider section at the end. Next, let's move on to the last course in the first cup of the DLC, Coconut Mall. Just a little tip for you guys, if you find yourself on the wrong side of one of these escalators, obviously do not go up it because it will slow you down tremendously. Instead, bounce off the railings. Not only do the railings help you maintain your momentum because they're not moving in the opposite direction, but you can also trick off the start and the end of these railings if you time it carefully enough. Then the main shortcut that everyone knows on this course, you have this shop, which for some reason counts as off-road. It did all the way back in the Wii 2, so it's not really a surprise. It's just kind of weird because the ground is literally wood. After taking a mushroom through that, you can either keep going on the rafters or the faster path, which is tricking off and then landing on the escalators. When you get towards the end of the mall section, you definitely want to take the right side, as the top just sends you way up higher and then puts you on a glider, which is objectively not faster. Last thing I wanted to mention is the cars. Obviously, yeah, everyone knows they don't move, and they've replaced the Miis with the Shy Guys, but arguably more importantly, the cars don't actually cause you to take damage anymore. They don't cause you to spin out or anything like that. Instead, they just cause you to bump, and you know, it's the same thing as hitting a wall or hitting a railing. Gonna be honest, I don't really care for this change. It doesn't really impact me that much, but it's good to know. Maybe you'll be a bit riskier because the punishment for actually hitting a car is not nearly as bad anymore. Next, let's take a look at Choco Island. There's two main things I want to mention here. The first one is this nasty shroom cut. It actually kind of catches you by surprise. It's immediately to the left as soon as you enter that cave, so make sure to hug that wall really tight. The second thing is this glider ramp. Now, at first it seems pretty innocent, but there is this little wood section on the landing pad. If you're going fast, aka playing in 150 or 200cc, and you land on this wood section right here, it will cause you to bounce, which not only kills all your momentum, but could send you going off in a weird direction, bonking into the wall like you see right here. It's a really finicky piece of geometry, and if you hit it at top speed, it can really send you flying. You can trick off it, but it is not worth it at all, so I would recommend landing right at the end of it, as you see right here. The Toad Circuit is definitely the least interesting track in this DLC, in my opinion. I don't know, the only interesting thing here is that if you're going fast enough, you can just do a quick little hop and then essentially do this shortcut without a mushroom. That's pretty nice because then you can save the mushroom for this insane dirt cut at the end, which is going to be super useful considering it literally is right before the finish line, so you can pass a lot of people doing this. Last but certainly not least, we have Paris Promenade. Starting off in this course, we have the most obvious shortcut in Mario Kart history. I mean, come on, like what is that? You can use a mushroom for that, boosting through that off-road section, but there's actually some more interesting parts of this course than just that initial shortcut. First of all, on laps 1 and 2, as you're entering into the Eiffel Tower, from my brief testing, it is always faster to take a left and not go under the Eiffel Tower. This section, which spits you out right at the Piranha Plant, allows you to build up bigger drifts, and it's also just a bit of a more direct path. Now on the final lap, obviously the game has you take this really sharp right. I personally would try and avoid this glider ramp. I think almost all the unnecessary glider ramps in this game actually just end up slowing you down, but as you continue along the course, there is something to do with a glider that is pretty useful. As you go off this glider from underneath the Eiffel Tower, this is the most beautiful part in maybe this entire DLC. This is so cool. I just love this little town center. But B, if you time your landing right, you can trick off this little ramp right here. It's a nice little way to get a bit of extra speed. And while yes, you could mushroom right here, you can also just go around it like, you know, normally. However, one thing I would like to point out is if you go to the left side of this, make sure to time your drift right and not go too wide. I drifted a little bit too wide and just clipped this red arrow thing, which actually caused Lakitu to come out, and it was, you know, it killed all my momentum. He took 3 coins. It was terrible. So yeah, those are all the tips tips and tricks I found just from 24 hours or so of playing this DLC. The coolest one by far is that initial Ninja Hideaway skip. I haven't seen pretty much any other YouTuber talk about it, so I wanted to put it up close, at the front of this video, just so I didn't waste your guys' time and as many people saw it as possible. Lots more videos are coming soon, both on Mario Kart and other things. I've been super busy as of late, but I mean, yeah, that's not an excuse. I've just been busy. If you want to watch me play Mario Kart with literally every single kart combination, click the button on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.